I'm heavily involved in the supplement business right now, industry. So there's a lot of these myths going around that certain amino acids will just create a pump just by taking it.
Amino acids.
And it's BS. And if it does happen, it might happen for 15 to 30 seconds, you know. That doesn't give you a pump when you're training chest. There are certain things that give you a pump. If that's what your goal is, the important things for you to get a pump are water, how much you're hydrated, is there water in the blood volume? Salt with potassium, so the mineral balance, sodium, potassium is very important, and glycogen, carbohydrates. I mean, talk to any bodybuilder who's on low carb, they're probably not getting pumped, you know. If you're dehydrated and you took a diuretic, you're not getting much of a pump unless you start eating Snickers bars. So those three things will cause a pump. Does citrulline cause a pump? Maybe a little bit, but is it a prolonged pump that'll last your workout? You know, just taking citrulline, thinking that, oh, it's clinically dosed at 6 grams and this will give me a pump, whereas 1 gram will not. That is complete BS. Somebody send me those studies showing that 6, 8, 10 grams of citrulline will give more blood flow to that working muscle more than not taking it or taking a little less. I don't think those studies exist. I'd love to read them, you know, maybe I'll have a different opinion, but just taking an amino acid thinking that's gonna give you a pump, I wish that were true. I think every competitor would love to just take amino acids, step on stage and be pumped.
So that's more psychological thing? You take the pre-workout, you think you're gonna get a pump?
Nitric oxide is real. You know, it's a gas. It does enlarge your veins, but it's temporary.
Yeah, but the predecessors of nitric oxide are arginine and citrulline, right?
Right. But for bodybuilding purposes, how long is your vessels going to be enlarged? And when you take, say, a gram of arginine or 2 grams, when does that enlarge your veins? Tell me what time, how many seconds afterwards, because you have to time it then. And how long is that vein going to be enlarged for how long? Nobody knows this, so it's a great theory. I take it myself. You know, it's almost like an insurance. You know,
got it.
It does have a lot of other benefits, but just I don't think people should think that just taking a huge amount of citrulline or arginine or AKG will give you a long-lasting pump in the gym. You need to have water in there. You need to be very well hydrated. You need some kind of glycogen, preferably. And you'll still get a pump. You know, blood will still go there because the muscle's working. But ideally, you should be full of glycogen, you know. And the sodium, potassium, you gotta figure that out. You know, when I take potassium, I have a little bit of carbs in a drink, I'll get a massive pump. You know, it's just mechanics. Your blood volume is bigger. So you're working that muscle, you just feel it's a big difference. So I do take the citrulline, I do take the AKG. I just think it's irresponsible to say, you know, 8 grams is the clinically approved dose that will guarantee you a pump. And it's just not the case. It's just, it's BS, you know. And again, I'm in the industry. I work behind the scenes with a lot of different brands, you know. And sometimes I try to correct them on the wording, like, you know, you can't guarantee a pump because you have this amount of product. It helps. If it didn't help, I wouldn't take it. Trust me, I'm not going to put it. I'm 58, so what I put in my body, I just think about, you know, what's it going to do to my liver and kidneys and everything else. So I do take it. It has a lot of benefits. I do feel a little better. Maybe it's psychological. I don't know. I like taking citrulline. Even arginine, though, you know, they say it's not as good as citrulline. I like taking a mixture of that in my intra-workout. You know, I look forward to it. I look forward to taking my pre-workout, then my intra-workout when I work. It's my ritual. It helps my workout. It's like a trigger. It helps me, so I will take it. It's just, don't rely just on that. You know, having a good workout is more than just taking one supplement.
So for the pre-workouts, if the salt and the potassium are so important, why nobody gets potassium in the pre-workouts? Because of kidneys and etc.
The ones I formulated all have potassium. But I think it's very important.
Human body needs potassium twice as more as
I take extra
sodium,
potassium.
right?
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't supplement on too much sodium. You're going to get sodium just eating in this modern world anyway,
but potassium we get from the food, like sweet potato has potassium.
Yeah, how many bananas? Yeah, I know, but how much? I'd rather pop 3 pills that have 300 milligrams of potassium, not in a tablet or like the capsule, knowing that, I'm good with potassium. Potassium for bodybuilding was crucial in the 70s and 80s. Everybody talked about it. Serge Nubret talked about it. Every competitor, we would go to the pharmacy and get potassium tablets.
Like a supplement.
Like a supplement, because we knew that potassium is extremely important for the contraction. It seems like no one talks about it anymore now. They talk about the citrulline so much more. Potassium is a very essential mineral for any kind of strength athlete.
But sodium and potassium are responsible for the hydration.
Yeah.
If you get the wrong balance, you're going to be dehydrated.
Well, the theory is potassium keeps water inside the cell and sodium on the outside.
Yes.
So in bodybuilding, in our bodybuilding world, it makes sense to keep the water inside the cell. So having more potassium than sodium. Sodium is abundant in our diet. It's hard to eliminate sodium. Potassium, not so much. Again, how many bananas are you going to eat? I'd rather take a couple pills.
So the more sodium you get, the more potassium you got to get, right? The more
sodium you intake, the more potassium you should take. Absolutely. I think it's like 2 to 1 or something.
2 to 1, exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about it. I don't know why.
Things go in and out of style in bodybuilding and maybe just in pop culture in general for no apparent reason. Potassium is super important. Look, in the bodybuilding world in Europe, we knew about vitamin D. And we knew that it wasn't even a vitamin. I'd say 86, 88, we were talking about it with, guys that are much smarter than me who had like biochemistry degrees. And like, vitamin D, you guys should take vitamin D. They would tell us like vitamin D. I don't know why it's even a vitamin, one guy said. Like, this is a hormone,
Yes.
So take the vitamin D and definitely potassium. Now vitamin D just popped out and became more popular after COVID, But how many bodybuilders are talking about how important vitamin D is? I think it's also important in testosterone production,
the bone health, the testosterone, the immune system,
for men
all
and
in
women.
all.
Kids, for sure.
So back in the day, what was the first supplement that you used and you felt like, whoa, this is the shit?
That I felt?
That was the protein, not from soybeans?
Not from soybeans. Protein, when I started taking protein shakes throughout the day, because I was never a big eater. I could eat a lot of carbs. I would love like cookies or pasta or lasagna. I could eat that all day long. But the protein, just eating the steak and the eggs, that was a burden for me. So when I started adding the shakes with that extra protein, that's when I really got a lot bigger. That really helped. So I'd say the whey isolate shakes and creatine. When I started taking creatine, like in the days where you have, the potassium and you have the carbs and you drank a lot of water and you had creatine.
The monohydrate? Yeah.
Yeah, the pumps are just like, as basic as that is, that's what I really felt.
From 1 to 10, comparing to the modern era of flavors, what flavor was that? 1, 2?
Initially, there was no flavor. I mean,
just the original
Bill Phillips came out with a flavored. Yeah, it was like a lemon lime. It was okay. If you're really into bodybuilding, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant how. A lot of times we just clog your nose and gulp it so you wouldn't taste it.
Was that bad?
It was. I mean, we would have taken anything that would make us grow. Me and my buddies were taking amino acids that were they were made for phlebotomy. Like the ones that would go down in your vein from a hospital. This guy would take them from the hospital. He would steal them.
Just take them.
In the traditional Italian way, he'd steal these cases of amino acids.
He borrowed, okay?
Okay.
Let's assume this.
No, he stole them. And he gave them to us. He wasn't selling. He gave them to us,
This was a Robin Hood.
I know. He was. So he'd give us these amino acids, which was pure, free-form amino acids, but it had, I think, all 22 amino acids. It wasn't just the 9.
That's perfect.
It went straight in your vein. For people who were in a coma, they were dying, they couldn't eat.
Yeah.
You'd at least have the protein that way. So it was like the purest of the pure, but they smelled like rotten egg. It wasn't made for consumption. It wasn't made to drink. You could drink it because they're pure. These went in the veins. So we were drinking. Yeah, we're not going to stick it in. Yeah, no. So we were drinking, but it was putrefied, rotten egg. So we just clog our nose and go down. But you had 2-3 mouthfuls We're talking 10, 20, 30 grams of amino acids.
That's a lot.
That's a massive amount, and that really worked. So back in the day, the taste was irrelevant. I don't see that today. Now, if the pre-workout isn't as fruity and as sweet as you want, they'll return it because
exactly what it is.
These kids are soft.
Back in the day, did you drink coffee before the workouts?
Oh, for sure.
Espressos?
Coffee.
How much?
Quite a bit. I'd say 4 or 5. If you're dieting, just like all day long, just coffee.
Half a gram of caffeine in a day?
Oh, probably at least, maybe 800, 900,
900?
Yeah, because each espresso would have at least 70 to 80 milligrams.
Yeah.
So coffee all day long,
So,
but we were on like a meat and water or fish and water diet. So you needed all the help you can get. Fish and water is tough. Meat and water is really tough. But fish and water is just, you're dying.
No sodium?
Yeah.
Just a little
No,
bit?
we reduced the sodium just like 2-3 days before. No, you wanted the sodium. You wouldn't be able to train without that sodium and potassium, without the minerals.
Yeah.
You're just eating fish. After 3-4 days, you wouldn't even be able to train. It was just so hard. But we got really, really cut. You'd lose too much muscle mass. It's not the best way to lose fat, but it worked.
If you like this short clip, you are more than welcome to watch the full episode on my other YouTube channel called Apollo the Original.